It is August, and last August I started to learn about the Twitter algorithm, about Twitter strategies, and now, ta-da! I have more than 20,000 followers. So in today's video I will show you how to do the same. By the way, this is going to be a two-part video because there are just too many things that I have to say about this subject, and I wanted to provide you with as much value as possible, so I had to split it into two, so be sure to also watch out for part 2 as soon as it is out. This is so funny because last August I started with 60 followers, and back then I had a podcast and I was horrible with social media. So I was about to hire someone to manage my social media so that my podcast would be seen by more people, because I just had no interest in social media whatsoever. And I was like, I really don't want to deal with this. I especially don't want to deal with Twitter because I just don't get how it works. But then I thought, okay, if I want my content to be seen, then I have to understand the algorithm. And most of the advice that is out there is kind of like, go ahead and follow some followers from celebrities and like all of their content, and then eventually this is how you grow followers. And this is BS advice, and I was not going to do that. And the lack of proper Twitter advice was actually really frustrating to me. So instead, I looked up other social media coaches that were more for like YouTube and Instagram, and then I adapted their advice for Twitter. And this is now how I was able to grow so fast. So if I, with my 60 followers and my lack of knowledge in social media, can grow to 20k followers, then you can do it too. So there are two main strategies or two main routes to take to get 20k followers. And today we will be discussing route 1, which is mostly relying on the retweet function of Twitter and how to use this for your advantage. So in this route, you will show up on people's news feeds, and you will show up because people they have followed have retweeted your tweet, so it is also showing up in other people's news feeds that have not been following you. And this is how your tweet gets exposed to more people. It is actually quite straightforward. But this is actually not enough, because this way people will only see your tweet, but they will not become followers. So the main route of route 1 is how to turn people who have seen your tweets into followers. Because there are actually many steps that people need to take from seeing your tweet on the newsfeed to becoming a follower, and we are in control of every single step if we have the right strategy. So let's go through everything and dissect the whole strategy. So first of all, people just scroll through their newsfeed, and your tweet needs to stand out enough so that it is grabbing their attention, so that they actually stop to read it. I have a whole video on how to get your tweet seen, and it's actually this video, and I recommend that you watch it after you finish this one. So after your tweet has grabbed people's attention, it is important that your profile picture looks like the profile of someone they would want to follow. And your profile picture should actually have a picture of your face, like a portrait picture. And this is actually very well known in marketing, and this is why there are so many ads with models and so on, because we know that faces grab people's attention a lot more than drawings of faces do, or landscapes do, or a picture of your dog does. So if you want people to click on your profile, then have a picture of your face in it, so that it tempts people to actually click on it. So as soon as people have clicked on your profile picture and they are on your profile, it needs to be clear within 3 seconds what kind of value you provide for them. And I'll make a whole video on how to actually create a proper Twitter profile, so also be sure to watch out for this one because it's going to be very, very valuable. So in a nutshell, one of the most important advice around this is to not waste your header image. Again, this is the feature of your profile that is going to grab the most attention. You can see we are playing a lot with directing attention and using where people's attention is going. And the header image is the thing that stands out the most in your profile. So you should be making use of it. Instead, there are so many people that I'm seeing that are using their header image, for instance, for images and pictures of their dogs. So unless you are a dog coach, then don't use your dog for your header image. Also, even though you might have taken a beautiful picture in your vacations the other day, again, this is no reason to follow you. So at least use a tagline. Show people somehow what you're doing in words or in picture. Some people, some scientists, for instance, show pictures or schemes of their science. This is a great way, if it is simple enough to understand it within 3 seconds. Pictures are a great way to let people know what their profile is about. Taglines using words is also a wonderful way. Be sure to be quick, be sure to be clear, And be sure to use simple language. But again, I will make a whole new video about this. Finally, tell people to follow you, for instance, in a pinned tweet or also in the description, because you won't believe, for instance, what difference it makes in my YouTube videos where I forgot to tell people to subscribe to my channel. In those videos, I get fewer subscribers overall. So, by the way, be sure to subscribe to my channel now that I'm saying this. And also hit the little bell so that you get notified every time I post a new video. And really, you can just spell it out and say word for word. For instance, if you're interested in marine biology, then be sure to follow me. So now you already know how to turn people into followers after you've showed up on their newsfeed. But this whole strategy relies exclusively on retweets. So in order to maximize the amount of followers that you're getting, we also need to be strategic about how we get retweeted. So for me, the best way to get retweeted was actually that I found a retweet account called Academic Chatter. Back then I was focusing exclusively on academics. So Academic Chatter was retweeting all kinds of tweets that contain certain hashtags like, of course, hashtag academic chatter or hashtag PhD chat or something like that. So this was my way to get retweeted. And if you're not an academic and you want to use another retweet account, then you can just Google. Actually, this is also one thing that I've done a while ago, and there are actually a lot of retweets for every sort of niche. So of course I cannot list all of them because I don't know what your niche is. But if you Google, then you can definitely find retweet accounts for your niche. Oh, and by the way, what is the appeal of a retweet account? So for instance, Academic Chatter now has 100,000 followers. This means that if you get retweeted, your tweet will be shown to 100,000 other people who you know are already interested in what you have to say. So this allows you to reach 100,000 people with one tweet, even though you might only have like 100 people that are following you. And this, believe me, is a much better strategy than doing this follow for follow that everyone online is promoting. Because, well, I won't get into detail about this. I have done a video on why follow for follow is a terrible idea. It's actually this video, and you should also watch it after you've done watching this video. Because actually follow for follow can ruin your account long term. In a nutshell, with follow for follow, you will have a very low engagement rate. And I won't get into detail why the engagement rate is important, but believe me, it is important that people interact with your content. And also, speaking of interacting with your content, please give this video a like, because also on YouTube it is very important that people interact with my video. So give it a like or also a dislike if you didn't like it. If you're a long-term follower of mine, you might have noticed that I'm not tagging Academic Chatter anymore. And there's actually a reason for that. And I will get into the reason why it is not beneficial for me anymore in just a second. But before, also if you're a long-term follower, I hope that I have provided a lot of value for you in the time that you've been following me. And it would be awesome if you would become a patron of my channel and support me a little bit, because actually every single dollar, every single support helps. So I will link to my Patreon in the description box below. And already, thanks a lot for helping me out and supporting my channel. So now back to Academic Chatter. No, we did not have a fallout. We are still talking. This was not the reason. The reason why I'm not tagging Academic Chatter anymore is actually that my content has become more and more niche, so that it is not interesting for me anymore to target all academics that are on Twitter, or lots of academics that are on Twitter. So there is a tipping point. And if you want, I can do a whole video on this tipping point and when it is beneficial to expose your tweets to a lot of people that are somewhat interested in your account, and when it is beneficial to niche down even deeper or even further. And this is actually what I did. And this is this is the main reason why I have not been tagging Academic Chatter anymore. Now, before we move on to part 2, let's do a really cool thing. So write down in the comments, what is your current follower account? And then apply the strategy that I've just showed you for the next 2 weeks, because likely part 2 is going to come out in 2 weeks. And then on part 2, again, let me know what is your follower count, because I would be so interested to see your growth. And it would make me so happy if you tried my strategy and saw if it is going to be beneficial for you. Also, what is your follower goal for the end of the year? Because we are now in the middle of the year, so I will be very, very curious to see what are your goals, and also it is important to set goals for ourselves in order to have something to work towards. So also, what are your follower goals for the end of the year? Let me know in the comments, and then maybe we will also do a video where we are revisiting this and where you can see whether you have achieved your goals. Also, until part 2 comes out, you can also check out my 3-step tweet formula, where I explain in more detail how to do a tweet that grabs people's attention. And it's actually going to be so beneficial for you. And you can just find it in the description box. There is a link, and when you fill out your email address, it will be sent straight to you. Of course, check out all the videos that I have just mentioned. They are all in this playlist. And with this, I wish you a wonderful day, and I hope to see you either in part 2 or in the next video. So take good care of yourself, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.